Hello everyone, welcome to my movie channel. Today I bring you a movie about prisons. Here's the story. This place. It is the famous Shawshank prison in the United States. Today's prisoners seem particularly excited because the prison has sent a new batch of prisoners and he is one of them. Get out of the car with the prisoners one by one. The old birds are also getting excited. The louder they cheer, the more terrified the new prisoner feels. And Red here have started a betting game with friends. They're betting on who's going to cry first tonight. The newcomer's first night in prison. It's the hardest. Red took a fancy to the weak and the team at a glance. Andy of the wine placed a chip on him for 5 packs of cigarettes before the prisoner enters the cell to flush the water gun. Spray on the smelly disinfectant. Late night, old prisoners start to treat newcomers. Progressive language stimulate. The fat man finally couldn't help crying.
I don't belong.
After that, the fat man was dragged out by the prison guards and beaten, and Red's bet on Andy. But he wasn't born all night, but something surprised Red. Because he's always been very accurate, he has never lost this kind of betting game. So he started asking why Andy was in prison. Turns out he was the lobby manager of a bank. This day he discovered a wife has an affair with a man at home. Just a few sips of baijiu in the car, ready to go upstairs to settle accounts with them. And the 2 people in the room were suddenly killed by bad guys. Only the pistol with Andy's fingerprints was left at the scene. Of course, Andy became the prime suspect. Sentenced to nothing by the judge. Imprisoned and wrongfully imprisoned. Andy came to prison with a heavy heart. He was unwilling to let himself down. This environment makes him unbearable. His taste and conversation, he didn't fit in with the others. Suddenly one day he took the initiative to find Red. Because Red is the know-it-all here. He relies on connections to get contraband in prison, and he wants Red to get himself a little hammer. Red found out and asked him back. Red was still skeptical, but when he got the hammer, it dispels this concern, because using this hammer to dig through the prison, that will take at least 500 years to dig. Then rest assured to let your friends hand the hammer to Andy. And it wasn't going to be easy for Andy. He was soon targeted by the 3 sisters in prison. They have unique interests. Because of Andy's lonely habit, they often took the opportunity to force Andy. Andy will be beaten up for disobedience. So a year went by. The 3 sisters still didn't let Andy go, and her face is always covered with wounds. Her willpower has collapsed. You might even think about giving up on yourself. So he endured another winter. And just next spring, it also happened to usher in Andy's opportunity to change his destiny. The warden needs to find some inmates to fix the roof. Red broke through the early warning relationship with a tip. Let all his friends be successfully selected. By the way, I also brought Andy. While they were working on the buns, Andy overheard the warning conversation. The captain wants to buy a nice car, but you have to pay a lot of taxes. This tax is enough to cost him half a year's salary. Just when the captain was worried, Andy suddenly walked up. This is your chance to perform. He told the captain that I had a good idea. Make you both legal and reasonable. No need to turn in a penny. The condition is that after success, treat my friends to a cold beer. Because Andy used to work in a bank, so the captain chose to believe him, and this is what happened. A dozen prisoners sat in the sunset, successfully drank a cold beer. Andy just sat there smiling. The inmates all thought Andy was flattering the captain. Only Red can feel it. He's helping people relive a long-lost freedom, even if it's just for a few minutes. Back to prison, Red as a friend gave Andy a big poster. And this is the poster. Became a powerful tool for Andy to escape from prison. These 3 men are Z, deep prison to lose weight and make famous Sister Flowers. He didn't find Andy to harass that night. They never succeeded. Andy was seriously injured. 3 people don't know. Andy is now a big hit in front of the captain. After the captain got the news, Wang Yao, who took the lead, taught him a lesson. Directly broke his 3rd leg. From then on, no one dared to provoke Andy again. The warden raided the ward that day. He saw Andy holding a book, the Bible. The warden is also a Christian Holy Land. He tried to question Andy. I didn't expect Andy to memorize the content of the book. This was also impressed by the warden. Then the warden personally received Andy. He must have been given a new job. Do you think the warden is really so kind? He just wanted to take advantage of Andy's financial abilities because the warden has worked here for many years, received a large amount of bribes. This money is ugly. He desperately needs Andy now, such a person to help him launder money because Andy will never get out. Don't worry about yourself. Disclosure of secrets. Andy lived up to expectations by various means, cleaned the money, and created one for the warden, a new identity named Buck. Even if you check it later, can't find the warden. Andy has his own dedicated office. His more and more early warning. I started looking for him to help me avoid taxes. He put the phrase knowledge changes destiny. It's a great way to use it. Andy also put Red, who has been in labor camp, dig in and help outside of work. Andy also applied to the warden to build a library for prisoners to learn knowledge. You can also pass the time, and the warden told him government funds can only be used to stay strong. Reinforced cage to improve the lives of inmates. You can only apply by letter. From now on, Andy writes to the government every day to apply for funding, but it sank into the ocean. Half a year has passed. His letters still went unanswered. This day, the old man in the laundry room suddenly took a prisoner hostage after Andy's painstaking persuasion. The old man finally released the hostage. Later, Andy learned that it turns out that the old man has been in prison for 40 years. Will be released tomorrow. He has become accustomed to life here. Fear of the unknown outside. He has been completely institutionalized in prison.
But I'm telling you, these walls are funny. First you hate them, you get used to them. Enough time passes, you get so you depend on them. That's institutionalized.
The next day, the old man walked out of prison. He's out of touch with society. The hustle and bustle of the city made him unable to adapt. He wants to try to do a good job, but he was scolded by the lady boss. Finally, he put on his suit, left this world by hanging himself. Andy, who has been writing for 5 years, finally, recollected by the government, brought him a lot of books. There's money for the library. Andy couldn't hide his excitement. He also found a vinyl record inside. He took advantage of the warning to go to the toilet, sneak into the radio station, and lock your door. Then I turned on that record. It was broadcast throughout the deeper prison. All prisoners stop and listen. They have forgotten. There is such beautiful music in the world, as if at this moment, their hearts are free. And Andy's actions, warned and locked in solitary confinement for a month, but he thought it was worth it. He told the audience and begged the warden to help him with his plan. Preserve your innocence. And the warden didn't want to let him go at all. Andy swore to him, go out by yourself. I will definitely not confess what happened before helping him watch the black. The warden had his men drag him out. The warden prevents long dreams in the future. He also ordered his men to beat Sam to death. And not only that, the warden also found Andy and threatened him not to have any hope of going out. Otherwise, it will make his life worse than death. The human heart is often more terrible than torture. This time, Andy, I finally saw this. Violence and darkness in prisons. Red also advised him not to resist people under the eaves. What else can I do but endure? Red admired Andy's personality and temperament. One day soon after, Andy was acting strangely. He secretly told Red, if you go out someday, be sure to go under the big oak tree south of Houston. Find a black stone. There's something buried there that I left you. Red felt like Andy was giving his last words, but it made Red feel that Andy was getting more and more incomprehensible. At night, Andy laundered money for the warden as usual. You can see it in his eyes. He's going to do something big tonight. He started the modeling program as soon as he was in prison. It's been 20 years now. On the way back to the cell, Andy frowned. He glanced at his old friend Red. It's like a final goodbye. Back to the room, Andy took out the rope and sat there. Seemed to be waiting for an opportunity. Midnight, thunderstorm, lightning and thunder. Red was very upset. He didn't sleep all night. After dawn, the CO's roll call. A prisoner never showed up. The guard hurried into Andy's room. He was stunned on the spot. Andy just disappeared out of thin air. The prison immediately went off the first alarm sound. The warden came over in a panic. He started abusing the guards. How could a living person suddenly disappear? And got Red to question Andy's late summer. And Red doesn't know. The warden was furious, hit the wall with a stone. This is incredible. The poster on the wall was smashed through. Warden rips up poster, totally freaked out. There is a hole here. That's right. Andy managed to escape from prison. Prison guards are searching nearby, but only found a small hammer. Red once said it would take at least 500 years to dig tunnels with this hammer. He knows a little. Andy is also very knowledgeable about geology. He analyzed prison walls are not built to be indestructible with enough time and stamina. It's not hard to escape. The difficulty is whether there is such execution. During these 20 years, every night by the poster, to cover yourself moving around little by little. Take the soil out during the day, sprinkled on the playground outside, day after day, year after year. On the day of the jailbreak, you put the warden's criminal evidence in a plastic bag, then get into the hole, climb the prison sewer. Take advantage of the thunder that night, successfully smashed the pipe with a stone, and then I'm crawling through the stench. It took more than 300 meters to reach the sewage outlet. When he came out, his life is finally free. He took off his jersey, opened your arms to the sky, made a flying gesture. He has been waiting for this day for 20 years. Day 2, a well-dressed man walks into the bank. Andy came to replace the fictional one, but was made up for the warden, the man named Buck. He took the millions of dollars he laundered for the warden and handed over the warden's criminal evidence to the bank. Soon the police car rushed to Shawshank Prison. The warden is guilty. Decisively choose suicide to atone for sin. Soon after, Red received a postcard from a strange city. When he looked at the map, this is the boundary line. Then he smiled in admiration. He knew it must have been sent by Andy. This also means that Andy has left the country. Some birds are not meant to be caged. Every feather of his, all shining with the brilliance of freedom, and Andy's story spread throughout the prison, became a Shawshank legend. The inmates also sincerely wish Andy his freedom. Just every twilight, Red will unconsciously think of this friend. Another few years have passed. Red is finally released from prison. He's been here for 30 years. Several prison guards were reluctant to say goodbye to him. After getting out of prison, Red came under the tree that Andy had told him about. Found what Andy left him. Have a sum of money, one more letter. Red went to Andy according to the address on the letter. He friendship under high power, smiled at each other. The film ends here.